I remember, you could actually, outside COVID times, you could go onto a computer, you could book a holiday, you could book a flight, you could check in, you could even go to the airport, and you could go through these machines that scan your passport, scan your boarding pass. You could walk right through security without even speaking to anyone, go through the machine, head right up to the gate, walk onto the airplane, and end up somewhere else in the world without any human interaction, because those jobs have been replaced by technology. That's what's happening. And artificial intelligence is machine learning. They learn to do the things that the humans used to do. And it's a very important technology. It's going to advance society. It's a very, very interesting technology. And that story there will make you familiar with what's happening. The decentralized world is also occurring right now. And that came about essentially because of a blockchain technology called Bitcoin. And decentralized simply means you don't have the guy in the middle, or the bank in the middle, or the lawyer in the middle to deal with affairs. It's decentralized. There is no centralized communication point. So people now can pay each other without using the banks through the blockchain. So we remove the bank. What you're going to find on the blockchain now is that people can transact. So in the future, you will be voting through the blockchain. You will be buying your house through the blockchain. You will be booking your dentist appointment through the blockchain. There'll be no human intervention. It'll be you at one end, the computer at the other end, and you'll be booking an empty slot, and it'll be confirming your appointment, and it'll be reminding you about your appointment. And the human intervention is disappearing with decentralization, with AI, and the other, blockchain, AI, and smart contracts are words that are entering our vocabulary very, very much, and we've got to familiarize yourself with it. I can tell you this: when I left school, there was one computer in our school, and that was only for the teachers. And that will tell you how strange it was. But yet, no, when my kids went to school in their first year, they had 15 computers in a 4-year-old's classroom. And that's how things are changing. And we've got to educate ourselves, we've got to educate our children, and we've got to pay attention, and we've got to need to learn this stuff, because it's crazy. But when you put this technology to work for you, then you become the beneficiary. In other words, you can benefit when you understand it. Now, this lady here, for over 20 years now, has been studying this AI. In fact, she's got a PhD in it. She's conceived as a world expert in her field. And her name is Dr. Anna Becker. She has a company called Endotech. And this company is doing magnificent things in the world today. Anna Becker is the CEO. She's the founder of this company. And at the moment, they have like $1 billion under management. And what that simply means is she uses AI, she uses scientists, she uses mathematicians, she uses traders, and they formulate what's called machine learning. And they get it to work in the market. So for many years, she's been involved in the Forex, which is the foreign exchange markets. And very recently, since 2018, she's moved her focus to this cryptocurrency world and had spectacular results there. Now, generally, a client of Endotech would be, for instance, a hedge fund or an institution, or like a pension fund, or maybe she would design a product for the banking industry, and not really for a consumer level or a private customer like ourselves. And to that end, she's a lot of responsibility, but she works with about 150 companies right now, and everybody wants to get a slice of her action, because she's had very, very tremendous results, and everybody wants to get a part of Endotech's results. Now, she was approached about bringing her product to the market for ordinary folk like you and I, and she kind of reneged on that, because her company probably couldn't manage 10,000 clients or 100,000 clients or 1 million clients. They wouldn't have the customer service. They wouldn't be able to do the KYC criteria, the customer support. But when she was approached about the idea, it fell well into her thoughts that she could actually help the little guy, because she always makes money for the rich. She makes millionaires, billionaires. That's what she does. She makes millionaires, billionaires. So she created this unique formula that gives us a framework to participate. What I mean by that is through a crowdfunding model, we are all able to contribute a little bit each of us, and through that we create one big fund instead of any one of us having to have a big fund ourselves. You see, traditionally, you would need to have about $1 million to even go and speak to Dr. Anna Becker, because that's the size of the account she works with. And of course, she would charge like $200,000 just to set the account up, to employ the technology, to start inserting the trades into the marketplace. It's quite a task, and she would charge about $200,000 for that. And most of us couldn't manage that, if we're honest. And from that point of view, when they decided to create a crowd fund, that makes it that we all can participate, and we can all start with as little as $100. That means everybody, my friends, my brothers, my neighbors, my next door, even strangers I meet on the street can participate, because it's only $100 or starting from $100. And that means we all can win with this technology. Now, maybe you haven't heard of Endotech before, and probably not, because you're not in that fintech arena. Maybe you're not in the higher echelons of society that are dealing with fintech, that are dealing with AI. And for that reason, a lot of us have never heard of the company. But when you go and do some homework on it, you'll find it quite interesting that Gemini.com. Now, Gemini.com is owned by the Winklevoss twins, the two brothers. These are remarkable gentlemen themselves. In fact, the Winklevoss twins are billionaires. They're recognized global billionaires. And they got involved in Facebook in the very early days. They got involved in Bitcoin in the very early days. And I read something recently that I think was back in 2013. The Winklevoss twins bought $11 million of Bitcoin way back in 2013. Imagine having the foresight to know what was coming with Bitcoin and to go and buy $11 million of it back then. You see, there's other smart individuals on the planet, and the likes of Elon Musk, who just last week got involved in Bitcoin and bought $1.5 billion. Imagine he had got involved years ago. So it just shows you that the Winklevoss twins are very, very clever gentlemen. And this is their website we're looking at. This is the Gemini.com website. And they endorse the same company that we endorse, which of course is Endotech. We're talking about the same company. Dr. Anna Becker's Endotech, and of course the Gemini Winklevoss twins site also has Endotech on it. But if you go to their web platform, scroll across to institutions, and go down here, you'll see Endotech. And that's a trusted partner. In fact, it's an endorsement. It's a recommendation that if you have money on your Gemini wallet, this is a great company to team up with to trade your wallet. That's how it works conventionally. Of course, there's some other great big names here. In fact, the Oppenheimer Fund, why not write that down? Oppenheimer Fund. Go and look at that and see the size of that fund that's been developed as well. So when you see Endotech and Oppenheimer and Gemini on the one website, what you must do is you must click on the link and see is it hyperlinked right back to Endotech, and that's what you'll find. When you double click on this link on Gemini's website, it pulls you straight back to Dr. Anna's website, and you know now there is a relationship. You know that it's been programmed to the platform, that it is a trusted partner, and that should give everyone on this call confidence. Now, what she does is she employs her robotic software, her algorithms. I believe she has over 40 different strategies. Those strategies would be dependent on the customer's needs. So a client would discuss their need. They would let her know about their appetite for risk. They would discuss the length of the term they'd like to work together, and they would go ahead and put a contract in place. That's normally how it works. And you'll probably realize that you need probably $1 million to get started with her. But on this call, I'm going to show you how you can get started with $100 and make your way up to that institutional level quite easy. Now, this example on the screen is one of her strategies. It's called the top leverage strategy. She's got alpha strategies. She's got beta strategies. This is her top leverage strategy. And this account has performed very, very, very well. You can see here that it's gained about 300% or just slightly less than 300% in a very short period of time. But I will say that past performance doesn't necessarily guarantee the future results. We've got to be honest. It is trading. There's good weeks and there's bad weeks. There's good months and bad months, and that's how trading works. And you need to understand that that there is this emotional roller coaster. It's a bit like Bitcoin. Bitcoin hits $46,000, then it drops down to $42,000, then it goes back up to $48,000. Next minute it's $43,000. It's got this up and down upward effect. But if we go back to October last year, Bitcoin was $17,000. So it has this bumpy ride, this what's called volatility up and down, and you've got to be prepared for that. You've got to realize that today is good and tomorrow might be good and the next day might be good, but the fourth day just mightn't be as good as the other 3 days. So you cannot always win. It's as long as it's better than tossing a coin, because tossing a coin has a 50-50 chance. When it's plus 50, when it's 70%, 80% of the trading is successful, then you make profits. Now, there are a number of accounts I could share with you. These are real live accounts that have been taken in this last week, just so you can have an indication of what's real. It's not hypothetical. This is of one of our clients. We call them a tier 10 contributor. You mightn't understand that at the moment, but you will very, very soon. And this particular tier 10 contributor gets what's called passive trading rewards. So they don't have to be on this call right now. They don't have to share this with anyone. They don't have any rent to pay. They don't have any rates to pay. They don't need any insurance. They don't need to, this is passive. It happens with or without you. And this particular client on the 4th of February, and I think this account was only set up, only started trading on the 21st of January, but on the 4th of February, it had earned $1,861. Now that was at 11:20 p.m. on the 4th of February. About lunchtime the next day, on the 5th of February, the account had grown to $2,500. So overnight, you can see this client had $1,800, and when they get up the next day and come in for a bit of lunch and check their account, they had made another $700 doing nothing. That's what I mean, it's passive. That was $2,500. And then the next day on the 6th, around about the same time, lunchtime, on the 6th of February, it had jumped way up to 4,500 of passive rewards. You can see the entire fund here was standing at $25 million, and the entire fund had made about 1.7 million, of which this client only gained 4,500 of that. But what I mean by that is the money is working for you instead of you working for the money. That's the big difference. The money works for you rather than you having to go out and work for your money, because in these very uncertain times of COVID, when businesses are concerned about their jobs and their shops and their careers, when owners are worried about their future, when employees are concerned about their future, it's worrying times. But if you can find a system that can make you money without having to go outside the door, without having to brace COVID, without having to travel, well, then you've got something very, very special. And that's what I believe we have here with Daisy. Now, that was on the 6th of February. On the 8th of February, it had jumped to $8,000 of profit, passive profits, and that represented about 11% in a very, very, very short period of time. When we go to the 9th, it went up to nearly $11,000, 15%. Now, it goes up and down, upwards, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't always win, and that's understandable, but the power of compounding, if you understand that, then you can have magnificent rewards in the long term. And finally here, on the 9th of February at 20 to midnight, this client had achieved $11,800 of profit doing nothing. I'll say it again, doing nothing. Automatic rewards, passive trading rewards. Again, this performance is not indicative of anything they might do in the future. It just gives you an indication of the possibilities. And of course, we have lots of happy clients like this. Now, you don't have to be a tier 10 client to get these benefits. Of course, you could be a tier 1 client, and I'll show you that in a moment. But once you go to that tier 10, remember that tier 10, you then get an automatic upgrade to what's called a VIP client of Endotech. And here, you can enjoy the benefits of her robotics, the benefits of her algorithms, without even giving her any money, because she will API, she will trade your Binance account or your Gemini account, where the funds remain in your control and the technology works on your account, and she'll trade 100% of that for you. And what I mean here is we are getting the opportunity to institutional trading starting at $100, guys. That's exceptional. That's never been done before. Normally, I'm going to tell you a story. I was in the bank one day and I noticed there was a massive queue from the counter all the way out through the door. And I was a business customer, so I was able to go to a separate counter. And I just said to the manager, I said, why is there such a queue today? Why are they so busy? And he said, oh, no, it's like that every day. I said, wow, you guys must be making lots of money. He says, no, it's not that. The people won't use the automated systems. And because I commented that there was 3 girls sitting at their desks, but only 1 girl standing at the counter. And I said to the manager, why don't you get these other 3 ladies to come up and reduce the queue? Could they not open some other counters and let the queue go down a little bit? And he said, no, we need to teach them to go automated. We need them to do online banking. We need them to use the ATM machines. We need to use, they were trying to say, we're not after the little customer. We're only after the bigger customer. That's very, very, very sad. But this lady has been very honorable, allowing all of us to participate with as little as $100. And I can tell you, there is no queue. There is no queue. Once we get into pre-launch, you'll be able to register an account from the comfort of your home. Quite easy. No KYC at this stage. KYC standing for Know Your Customer, Know Your Client. We don't require any of that at this stage because we're involved in crowdfunding and not, of course, in the trading side of things. Now, I want to give you a little bit about the roadmap. This lady has been engaged in AI, as I said, for over 20 years. She's had a number of successful companies, but Endotech, her current baby, her current project, Endotech, started back in 2012. And it was her goal over a 10-year period, maybe to take this idea, take this company to the stock market, to flotation. You can see here that it is her goal at the end of next year to make the company public. And why do I say that to you? What benefit might that be to you? Well, the founders have negotiated with Endotech that they will contribute 10% of the flotation to this community. Yes, to you, to me, to our friends. So she's willing to give up 10% of her company on flotation to this community that build the Daisy Crowd Fund. Now, the interesting thing about this is that Endotech is already valued at $100 million. It's not as though it's a new company and we're starting and we're testing and we're projecting. No. This company's been around for quite a long time. They're already valued at $100 million. They already have $1 billion under management. This is not new. It's just new to you and to me. And we're going to start this Daisy Crowd Fund. We did our first run in our soft launch. And we generated about $55 million in the first 4 days. And when we open up very, very, very soon, we envisage a lot of traffic, a lot of business coming to the Daisy Crowd Fund. Now, do you understand crowdfunding? That's another thing you might need to consider. Crowdfunding has become very popular as well. And you'll see lots of websites, lots of very famous people involved in crowdfunding. It's a way to help a business out. It's a way to contribute to an idea that you might like, to a project, maybe to a small business in your town, maybe charity, maybe something like that you'd like to help and make a contribution. Very often you see these crowdfunding activities taking place. Well, that's the unique environment that we've created here with Daisy. Daisy is a crowdfunding project that we all contribute to one fund, and that allows Dr. Anna Becker to operate on one fund versus 10,000 separate clients, if that makes sense to you. And the reason we're crowdfunding, it's for the next phase, the next development in AI. AI is a moving target. It's a bit like your cell phone. Your cell phone, every 18 months, you need to change it. Why? Well, because there's faster chips, there's faster processors, there's better cameras, there's longer battery life. Everything is evolving, and that's no different in AI. It's a constant moving target. And what AI does is it takes feeds from Twitter, it takes feeds from Facebook, it takes feeds from all the news channels. It resources words, and for instance, if Elon Musk says, I'm going to accept Bitcoin to purchase my cars, well, the AI picks that up instantly and employs strategies. Get into Bitcoin, or let's get into that particular trade. So it's super intelligence taken from a lot of data, a lot of data, and it makes intelligent decisions, and it checks past results, and it can process very, very, very fast. So we're contributing to the next phase of AI development. And for that contribution that we make, we're given some benefits. And that's the same at any crowdfund. When you crowdfund a project, you'll very often maybe get offered some equity or stock in the company, and you might also be offered let's say, the product at a better price, if that makes sense. And crowdfunding has these arrangements. It's normal business practice. But here, what we're getting, you and I, we're being offered 10% equity in Endotech, a $100 million company, and we're also being offered trading rewards. And what happens is this funding that we do, it goes into the development of the new software, and it's used to test the software. And I imagine someday in the future, the Daisy crowdfund model will be sold off to a bank or sold off to some big institution that wants to use its trading results. So that's what it is. And we're looking to gather $500 million. And again, for most people, that doesn't make sense. But we did 55 million in 4 days. I see no reason why we can't do 500 million over a period of time. And once we complete that project, this will be involved in cryptocurrency trading. We then go to phase 2, and we'll maybe look at the area of Forex, foreign exchange, another multi-trillion-dollar daily business again, where we could get daily rewards. And then later on, we might go to the stock market or look into commodities, things like gold and silver and precious metals. So there are an arrangement of crowdfund ideas we could do, guys. And this is the first one. This is the Daisy crowdfund. And it's very, very exciting, particularly when you've just seen the results that I shared with you. Now, how would you get connected? Well, very easy. You can go to Google Play. You can go to your Apple Store for the iOS devices, and you simply download the Tron Link application. Now, you can see on the picture here, it looks like a little, a paper airplane on a blue background. Make sure you have that, and it has what's called a dApps browser, dApps, D-A-P-P-S. dApps stands for Decentralized Application. And simply it means inside this wallet, there's a browser that you can put in a smart contract. You can put in a smart link and start connecting to a web portal. So it's quite simple. In fact, what I did was I went to Google and I typed in Tron Link Chrome extension, and up it came, and I downloaded onto my computer, and all of a sudden this little envelope, this little blue Tron emblem opened up at the edge of my browser, on the right-hand side of my browser, and that was my wallet installed. So it's absolutely free to do that. If you don't understand it, don't be afraid of it. It's something you become very familiar with. I'm going to say a month ago I had never seen one before, and now I'm in my Tron Link wallet every day. It's just like normal. It's like getting up in the morning. It's very simple. It's like going into your emails. You go in and have a look at your account. So a Tron Link wallet is really an account where you can store your Tron. And Tron, of course, lots of you don't know what Tron is. Tron is a top 20 cryptocurrency. You've heard of Bitcoin, which would have the ticker tape BTC. You've heard of Ethereum, which would be ETH. And Tron has the ticker tape TRX. It's just a top 20 coin. And the reason they use Tron is because of its speed. It's a very, very fast and effective speed blockchain. It's very transparent. It's very honest. It's trusted the world over. And the other reason is because the transaction fees are very, very, very little. Some of the other blockchains, it gets quite expensive to send money from one wallet to another. And we want to avoid that for this community. So they've chosen the Tron blockchain to exercise the smart contract and to exercise this particular business. Now, put that out of your mind if it's confusing. You'll find it like a second language in a day or two if you're new to this project. And what you do is the minimum contribution is $100, as I said earlier. And what I like about that, ladies and gentlemen, is it means it's non-prohibitive. It means, $100 won't affect anybody's family budget, essentially. It means that most families, not all, but most families can participate. And I think that's nice. I think that, to allow someone the ability to have their smartphone or their computer make them money while they sleep, I think that's very honorable. And you can actually take away any of your trading rewards. You can withdraw them any day you wish. Or if you're intelligent, you understand compounding, it might be a better idea to allow the profits to run alongside the contribution and compound for even better results. And that's a whole subject in itself, the power of compounding. So your choice is to take out your daily rewards or your weekly rewards or your monthly rewards. You can do that at the press of a button. You can withdraw any of your trading rewards, and or you can elect to leave them there and have the power of compounding, meaning the principal contribution alongside the reward is working in a bigger mass to make even more money. So the smart people who understand that will let it accumulate. Others that need the money on an ongoing basis will be withdrawing. But guys, that's your choice. That's entirely down to you. Now, when you make the contribution of $100, a number of little things happen automatically. The first thing is that 50% of your contribution will be sent over to Endotech. It'll go either to Binance or it might go to Gemini, depending where Endotech are operating the Daisy Fund. So 50% is a contribution to the AI, and that goes to what we call the trading account. The other 50% goes over to the marketing side. And again, I want you to understand that. Why the marketing side? Well, any project needs marketing. For instance, let's say let's say that's an iPhone on the screen there, and we designed this, and we were crowdfunding to develop this iPhone, and we had it at a certain level, but we just didn't have enough money maybe to bring it to the manufacturing, or maybe we didn't have enough money to bring it to the television. It's quite expensive to start marketing. We need to get this phone into the shops to get it massive. There's a marketing side and a technology side. So that's what happens here. 50% goes to the technology. It goes over to the AI development and trading. The other 50% goes towards the marketing side of things. And now that might make sense to you to get this project up and going. Now, there are 10 different tiers of contribution. And as I said, the first one is just $100. $50 goes to the beta trade account, and the other $50 goes to the crowd. And you'll also notice on the right-hand side, ladies and gentlemen, that you get one share in 5% of the equity offered at flotation. Okay? So for every $100, you get one share. And then if we go to the second contribution, which is 300. So it's the 100 plus the 200, so the total contribution would be 300 if you elect to contribute 300 to the project, if you like the project. Then 50% will go to the trade inside, and 50% will go to the crowd. And you'll see you get 3 shares in the equity of Endotech. And of course, if you want to make a higher contribution, let's say $400, it's 1 plus 2 plus 4, which is 700 total contribution. Half of that, 350, goes trading for you, and the other half goes to the crowd. And all the way down to tier 7, you can see here, tier 7 would be total $12,700. 6,350 will go to the trading account over at Binance for you, and you start trading that to make money. The other 50% goes to the crowd. Now you see the thick black line here between 7 and 8. All that denotes is as follows. This smart contract identifies that now you're making an 8, 9, or 10 contribution. And in this case, the rule changes. It means now that 70% of your contribution goes towards AI and trading, and the other 30% goes to the crowd. So in fact, this is actually better for you if you can get to these higher tiers. And I showed you an account at the start of this presentation, which reflected a tier 10 contribution. And now you might understand that. Excuse me. So once you do 10 tiers, then you can become what's known as a VIP client. I want to now show you what happens to the other portion. 50% or 70% goes to the trading account. Either the other 50% or 70% goes to the matrix side. Now, this is only for those of you that are interested in the marketing side of things. You don't have to do this part at all. We're actually finished now. The presentation's over. If you want to remain passive, there is no obligation to share this with anyone. If you do think it's a good project, if you think it's a worthy project, and you might want to help us develop the crowd, in that case, you might be interested in the next part of my presentation. So what happens is, once you make a contribution, the software automatically assigns you a 3x10 forced matrix, a 3x10 generation forced matrix. Very, very simple. On the first generation of your matrix, there are 3 empty locations. If you were to refer, let's say, 3 people you thought might be interested in the project, well, they would take up the first 3 positions, 1, 2, and 3. If you made any additional recommendations, well, let's call it 4, 5, and 6. They could not possibly fit on your first generation because the software only permits 3 locations. And therefore, they would spill over or fall under those 3 into what you call your second generation. And on the second generation, there are 9 empty locations. You will benefit from 4% contribution in packs 1 to 7, 2% contribution in packs 8 to 10. Now, why is this in a yellow rectangular box? Well, the very simple reason is this. Whether or which you introduce anyone or not, provided your upline or their upline or your active upline, if they created spillover and these sales fell into your matrix, and you don't know who these people are, you still are entitled to the benefit for the first 2 generations. So absolutely no requirement from you to share this with anyone. And if you were in the case where 3 and 9 spilled into your organization, then you still get that 4% or 2%. And you can see what that's worth to you. It's worth either $48 of free money, let's call it, $6,000 in packs 1 to 7 of free money, and an additional $21,000 approximately here. There's $21,000 of free money, as well as $6,000. That's 21 and 6 is $27,000 of free income here if you're in these categories, and of course, if these spill into your business. Now, I would prefer that didn't happen to me. I would prefer to know these 3, because when you know who these 3 are, then you can educate them, you can help them, you can assist them, you can support them, you can teach them to find 3, and that fills out the 9. And because the 3 know the 9 know the 27, and systematically you can build the structure in this crowd fund. And you can see the total possibilities is 88,572 contributions. Now, I said the first 2 generations, there's no qualification. However, to benefit from generations 3 to 10, you must qualify, and these qualifications are looked at 48 hours after you start. So in the first 48 hours for everybody in the world, whether you're starting now or next month or in 2 years from now, what happens is the first 48 hours of you registering, you are entitled to all bonuses. But after the first 48 hours, then the software will go and check, have you done anything to help or support the crowd? And in the case of qualifying for generation 3, you will need to share this with 3 individuals, and the total contributions from these individuals would need to be $1,000 or more, okay? And if that is in place, then you're eligible for these 27 contributions at 3%. So you might know the first 3 at 4%, you probably won't know the 9 at 4%, and more than likely you'll definitely not know these 27, but you get 3% of their contribution. If we go down to generation 10 to qualify here, you only need 24 directs with a total contribution of 128,000 or more. And what that does is that opens up 59,000 payments to you. That's correct. As people come to Daisy, as the crowd starts to develop, as the organization starts to build, you are kind of qualified here for 59,000 contributions at 4%. And that's a whole lot more than 3 contributions at 4%. And that's the power of the matrix. If we were to add maths to this, let's have a look at the 100 tier. That's the tier 1, $100. Imagine, hypothetically, we all decided just to do $100 and no more than that. Well, if you shared this with 3 and they, let's say it took you February, then in March they found it with 3, then they shared it with 3 in April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. Let's take a month off for holidays, December. Imagine we did this over 12 months, part-time, and everybody only shared the model with 3, allowing now, of course, for these qualifications, but essentially, if everybody did their weight, if everybody pulled their weight and put their shoulder behind this, and everybody produced 3 recommendations, then you would earn in around $340,000. Now, in the real world, I don't believe that actually happens like that. It's quite okay on an Excel spreadsheet. it's quite okay on a calculator because the numbers are correct. But in the real world, we find some people are busy. They might introduce 3, 4, 5, or 6. There's other people who are lazy. They might only introduce 1 or 2. You might find somebody who's very industrious, could introduce 20 people. There's other people who won't introduce anybody. It's really entirely down to the individuals themselves. Of course, you could find an internet marketer, and maybe they will introduce 20,000 people to your matrix. You just don't know. But hypothetically speaking, if you filled a 3 by 10 and qualified here, the potential here at $100 only is $340,000. Now let's dampen these numbers. Let's split it in half. Imagine you only did half of that example. Well then, how bad would $170,000 sound to you this year? What if you only achieved 10% of this working model? 10% would be $34,000. Well, how bad would that be for a part-time opportunity run off your cell phone from home? No rent to pay, no rates, no wages, no insurance, no headaches, a very lean money-making machine operated from your cell phone or from your computer, simply by attending presentations like this, inviting a few guests to have a listen, following up after the call, getting the questions answered, getting them started, and working a little program. If you find 3 in a month, and they find 3 in the next month, and they find 3 in the next month, in a 12-month or 10-month period, effectively, you could do this. Now, of course, lots of people are going to do more than $100 contribution. It depends how much you like the project. $100 is minimum, but if you like to contribute higher, let's say tiers 1 to 7, we've calculated here that if everybody, this community here, upgraded to all 7 tiers, then you'd be making somewhere in the region of $43 million. And again, if we progress that to tiers 8, 9, and 10, imagine this community decided to upgrade all the way to all 10 tiers, then in that case, it would be 154 million on top of the 43, meaning the total possibility is $198 million. Now, again, don't be thinking that's your number, because I can probably guarantee you that nobody will reach that number. But there is the possibility that you could do 10% of that. In other words, would it be possible to do 10% of this? Could you build a team of 8,000 customers or a community of 8,000 people? Would that be possible? 10% would give you 19 million. What about 1%? How would that work for you? How would you feel about achieving 1% of this model? 1% success would give you 1% of the result here, and that would be 1.9 million. So ladies and gentlemen, there's something here for everyone, starting from as little as $4. Why is it $4? Well, if you only introduce one person and they contributed $100 and you got 4%, that's $4. So the least you could get would be $4. The maximum you should get is $198 million, or somewhere in between, if that's fair, okay? Or somewhere in between. It's entirely up to you. I do training sessions where I can teach you how to make this work, how to get the best results from this strategy. And if you'd like to attend the training, that would be important to understand the best way to maximize your potential here. Now, what we've done here is we've taken the first 3 tiers. That was the 100, the 2, and the 4. So there's a $100 matrix, a 200 contribution, and a 400. Total contribution, $700. Imagine you filled all the first 3 tiers. You'd make 2.4 million if that was totally full. If you did 10% of that, it would be $240,000. If you did 10% of just filling the first 3 matrices. And again, hypothetical examples here to give you a guideline on what the potential is. It's a bit like an architect. You need to know the potential of the project. What is the maximum potential? What can we achieve on this building site? You know, how many blocks, how many bricks, you know, what do we need? What materials do we need? So you have to look at the project and then decide how much of the project you want to complete yourself. It's up for grabs whether you're up to do the work. Now, there are 2 more bonuses I'd like to share with you here. This is our 5% bonus, and this is for every direct that you introduce to the project. So let's say you shared this with me. You would be entitled to 5% of my contribution. And even if you've only contributed $100 and I contributed $10,000, you still get 5% of the contribution. Regardless, you do not need the higher package to get paid on the higher package. It's 5% on every direct that you introduce. You get that 5% on their first contribution, And any upgraded contributions, you also get that 5%. So that's a very simple bonus to understand. The other bonus over here is a 10% bonus, and this works on the matrix earnings. I'll give you an example. Let's suggest you shared this idea with me, and I made $1,000 today. Well, you would get $100. Why? Because you get 10% of my matrix earnings. Let's say tomorrow I made $2,000, you would get $200. And that applies to every one of your directs. You get 10% on their matrix earnings anytime they make money from the matrix side of things. Now, there's one caveat to that, and it is this. Let's say you're in tier 5, for example, and I'm in tier 5. Yes, you get 10% on tier 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But let's say I upgrade to tier 6, and you opt not to go in there. That was your choice. Well, then you're not entitled to the 10% of what I make in tier 6, but you would be entitled to the previous tier. So it works on the tiers you contribute. Now, the important thing also here that I'd like to mention is that these bonuses are paid instantly. When I say instantly, you're looking at about within 3 seconds. It doesn't sit in a wallet somewhere. It doesn't sit in a bank account. It's not sitting on an exchange waiting for somebody to press a button. This is why we use the Tron Link wallet. This is peer-to-peer, person-to-person payment. The smart technology sends these bonuses out. Instantly, the contribution is made. Instantly, 50% goes to Endotech for trading. Instantly, 5% is paid to the direct upline. Instantly, 10% of the earnings is calculated and paid. Instantly, these 4%, 3% of the matrix are paid wallet to wallet in real life time. And what I like about that is it means there's nobody in control. There's nobody holding on to the money. There's nobody that can go run around and take that money. Because why? It's paid out instantly. And that's what I like. This is the internet of trust. The blockchain is the internet of trust. You see, the smart contract can't go and buy itself a Ferrari. The smart contract can't come into work late tomorrow. Yeah, a smart contract can't get pregnant. A smart contract is just an instruction. It's a piece of software that's coded, and it must do A, B, C, D, E in this particular order. It can't be edited. It can't be changed. It can't be altered. It's a very, very intelligent software, and that's a very key component to this DAISY model. We have Endotech with its AI robotic trading. We've got a smart contract dealing with the marketing side of things. Guys, it's exceptional, an exceptional platform. And that brings us to our Pacesetter bonuses. Now, there are a few parts to this Pacesetter. And again, if you're new, you're seeing a lot of numbers, a lot of figures. Don't let that concern you. If you're watching this live and you get the recording, you can stop, or you can pause, or you can rewind, or you can ask questions later. So let me go through the Pacesetter bonus. And this is very, very important that you pay attention and understand each of these components if you want true success. The first component of the Pacesetter is this, that the software will unlock the next generation you qualify for in the first 30 days. So let's hypothetically suggest that you got started, and after 30 days, you had referred 3 clients to the crowd, and those clients had made a contribution of $1,000 or more. Well, yes, you've qualified for the 3rd generation, you're qualified for these 27 payments, but the software will automatically recognize that and open up all commissions on the 4th generation without any qualification. You see, generally, to qualify for the 4th generation, you need 6 introductions with 2,000. But in the case of the Pacesetter, whatever you do in the first 30 days, it opens up the next level for life, and you get paid on all these contributions. So let's suggest that you qualified for generation 9. Well, how do you do that? You need 21 directs and a total contribution of $64,000 or more. And of course, you'd be entitled to 19,000 payments. But if you do this in your first 30 days, the software unlocks the 10th generation, meaning you don't need 24, you did it with 21, meaning you don't need this 128,000 of contribution, you did it with 64, because the Pacesetter says this, whatever pace you set in your first 30 days, you get the next generation unlocked for life. And that would entitle you to these 59,000 payments coming from contributions from other contributors in the crowd. So that's how that works. Whatever you do in 30 days, the next level is unlocked for life. So that's part 1. Part 2 is more important to understand. And part 2 is what we call our gold Pacesetter. Now, this only applies to our higher achievers. If you're a high achiever, or you want to be a high achiever, then you need to consider doing 24 directs and $128,000 in total contribution in your first 30 days. So if you do that, here's what happens. You now get paid a share of 1.8% of the entire global contributors. Upline, downline, sideline, crossline, any line you want to mention, it doesn't matter who's contributing to Daisy, you're getting a piece of it. That's correct. If you do Generation 10, which is 24 directs, a total contribution of 128, you get a profit share in 1.8% of the entire community, including the founder's work, including my work, including everybody, people you know and don't know. In fact, your little team might only be 24 people at this stage, and you get paid on 10,000 contributions, 100,000 contributions, 1 million contributions, or whatever it may be. That's what the power of the Gold Pacesetter is. In addition to that, you get a share in the equity, again, of Endotech. There's another 5% reserve. You might have recalled me saying earlier, she's offering 10% to the community. 5% goes to everybody that makes a contribution. The other 5% is reserved for this category. For the Gold Pacesetters, they share in this portion by themselves as high achievers. This is something you must do. This is something you must at least attempt to do, because this is life-changing. In addition to that, you qualify for a share in 1.25% of the daily withdrawals. So as the trading rewards are created from Endotech, as the accumulation of rewards are given and people withdraw that, you also get paid a share of 1.25%, guys, and that's a very special bonus. And that leads us to our next bonus, which is our leadership bonus. For those of you that can introduce 3 Gold Pacesetters, and in fact, it's not just 1 3, any set of 3, 3, 9, 27, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, any group of 3, once you do 3 Gold Pacesetters that you've introduced, you get into this leadership bonus. If you do it twice with 6 people, you get 2 shares. If you do it 3 times with 9 people, you get 3 shares. And this is another 1.8%, a different 1.8, and this is going to be a bigger pool, because less people will do this than do that, okay? You might do this yourself, 24 and 128, you might do that, but now this one is reserved for those that find 3 people to do that. And every 3 gives you a share in this very, very rewarding bonus, the leadership bonus. And additionally, there's a 1.25% reward here on the withdrawals. And I'll do a little diagram for you just in a moment when I go to the flip chart. And then this brings us to our last bonus. This is our residual trading bonus. And this is very, very exciting as well, ladies and gentlemen. You may have heard of compounding or the power of compounding. If you haven't, please go to YouTube and find out what compounding is, the power of compounding. I don't know the exact search you would do on YouTube, but if you type in something like the power of compounding, let's watch a video there to find out the effect of compounding. When you can find a genuine way to compound your money, then you are in a very special place. And simply what compounding means in an abbreviated way would be that your principal, alongside the profit you gain, when it remains with each other, and the total amount is traded again for more profits, not just your principal making the profit, the principal and the profit making the profit, that's the power of compounding. And you have that opportunity here. As you get your rewards, if you allow them to compound, the power of that is greater than taking out the trading rewards on an ongoing basis. If you can afford to allow them to compound, you're going to get better results. But this bonus I'm looking at on the screen now is what I call the 9th wonder of the world. Because here, you can get the benefits of the compounding effect of your entire organization. Because you can qualify here for 3.5% of the removals, the withdrawals from your front line, 1% on the second generation. And of course, you have to qualify for generations 3 to 10. It's the exact same as the matrix qualifications we looked at earlier. And here is a very special component that not only are you getting paid as your own money compounds, now everybody in your community, as they compound their trading rewards, you're getting paid on that money as well. And that's going to be a very exciting bonus when we learn more how to achieve that and how to get those rewards. So what I'd like to do now is I'd just like to go onto camera and show you guys what this means on paper. Because we've looked at a lot of slides, we've seen a lot of numbers, you've heard a lot of words, and maybe to illustrate it on a piece of paper might sink in a little bit better. And I want to talk about here the Pacesetter. Now, the best way I can illustrate this is to go back to what happened in our soft launch. Okay, we're about to go into pre-launch, but in our soft launch, on the first day, the Daisy crowd raised in around $20 million for the trading side. This went to the trading, to Endotech. It went into Binance, and that's where it's starting to make the money, and I showed you some results. Well, we have two Pacesetter bonuses. We have the Gold Pacesetter bonus, and we have the Leadership Pacesetter bonus. So there are two bonus pools, and each of these two pools offer 1.8% of the contribution. So it's very, very simple. What is 1.8% of $20 million? It's it's $360,000. So 1.8% of $20 million revenue is $360,000. So that would be the same here. It's also $360,000 because it's two separate pools of 1.8%. In other words, they're offering 3.6% of the total contributions are going into the Pacesetter bonus. Now, there was approximately 80 people qualified for this when we went into soft launch, and there was only 6 people that qualified for this one. Okay, so this one's quite easy to do, because all you need is 24 directs and a total contribution of $128,000. You might remember that from the slide. So that's what you need to do. That's the target to go Gold Pacesetter. 24 directs, total contribution $128,000 or more. Now, when you divide 80 into 360,000, that means these 80 people got $4,500 each on average because they qualified for this on soft launch. And of course, in the next 3 days, there was another 30 million come in. This was just the first day. There was another 30 million come in the next 3 days. And we're going to get that situation again as this program starts to roll. So what you need to think about is, how do I become a Gold Pacesetter? Now over here was a different story. Over here we had 6 people qualified for it. So 6 people qualified for the leadership. 6 into 360 means these guys got approximately $60,000 each on the first day. That's right. It was $20 million come in. 1.8% went to the leadership bonus. 6 people did it. They shared this. They got $60,000 each in one day. So how do you become a leader? Very simple. Show 3 people how to do that. Find 3 people to do that, and you get over here. And even if you don't do this yourself, imagine you missed this, because you must do this in your first 30 days. It's only a 30-day bonus. Imagine you didn't do that. Don't be too disheartened, because you could still do this by finding 3 people to do that. And in any time frame, you might find one person in April. You might find your next person in July. You might find your next person this day next year. If 3 people that you introduce do this, you get this. So you could do it yourself and get this. And in fact, it's every 3. It's every 3. If you get 3 more people to do it, you get 2 shares in this. And that's our Pacesetter bonus. So what I would be doing is I'd be sitting down, I'd be working out how to achieve this. I have a strategy, whether it takes 1 or 2 of you to come together, whether it takes 4 or 5 of you or 6 of you or 20 of you to come together, almost like a syndicate to achieve it. That's one way to get into it. Or you could do it yourself, because these people, most of these people were individuals. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for joining us on this presentation. Please come back to the channel. Please come back and listen again and again and again. Get familiar with it. It is life-changing, and I hope you make the best decision that you can make. I hope you roll up your sleeves and go to work and get Pacesetter. That's the project before we go into pre-launch. Be ready to go on day 1 to start getting day 1 results. So thank you very much. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye-bye.